Welcome to your first outcome in this unit. The previous lesson looked at some complicated ideas to introduce you to the idea of a function in a function. This lesson is not nearly as complicated, so you get a little bit of a brain break. You're going to get through it pretty quickly, I'm quite confident. So it's all about just introducing you to absolute values. So it's A1, and you're going to have an assessment after this. It's going to take you a quick, 2 seconds. So anticipate doing that tomorrow. So two key things that we need to understand. Number one is the idea of opposites. Opposites are two numbers that are the same distance from zero on a number line, but on opposite sides. So if we take 7 and we put it on our number line versus -7, those are opposites because their distance here from 0 is equal, but one is to the left and one is to the right. An absolute value of a number looks specifically at this distance from 0, and it doesn't care the direction. So it's kind of like if you're in physics, we talk about vectors versus scalar measurements. Opposites are including directions. They're like your vectors, whereas your absolute value is strictly your scalar measurement, that quantitative value without magnitude. For example, if we use the number, so when we talk about the absolute value of -7 versus the absolute value of +7, both of them, whether I write it as absolute value of -7, the distance is 7, the absolute value of +7 is also 7 from 0. It's always measuring from 0. So example 1, we use the number line to find the opposite of 3. So we know that 3 is here. We need to go on the opposite side of 0 to find its opposite. Therefore, the opposite of 3 is -3. Now this seems very intuitive, possibly. If it does, excellent. So I want to find the opposite and absolute values of the following. So I want the absolute value of -2. So -2, the opposite value is 2, and the absolute value is 2. So opposite of -2 is 2, but the absolute value of -2 is also 2, looking at that distance here. Looking at our second example here, you've got +4. Well, the opposite means we need to take it all the way to the other side of 0. So my opposite of +4 is -4. But my absolute value of +4 doesn't care about which side it's on, it's just how far is it from 0. And the correct answer is it's 4 from 0. So that is my absolute value. So on the next couple pages, you've got lots of practice, but that is the essence of absolute values. Just figuring out the distance from 0, and it always has to be a positive number. So absolute value always equal a positive number. And that is our main idea here. So go ahead, do some practice, and then you can do the assessment.